So, what if the next government payment that hits your bank account wasn't a stimulus, but a refund? We're going to break down a pretty bold proposal that aims to send money back to Americans by cutting what's claimed to be trillions in government waste. This is a plan that could seriously impact millions, so let's get right into what it actually says. Okay, so you might be thinking, is this just a stimulus check with a different name? Well, according to the proposal, the answer is no. And that difference, that one word, refund, is absolutely everything. Understanding why they're calling it that is the key to this whole idea. All right, so let's dive into the core idea of this plan. What exactly is a refund check? Now, we all remember the stimulus checks from the pandemic, right? A few hundred here, maybe a little over 1,000 there. Well, what's being talked about here is on a whole different level. The idea is for a single payment that could be bigger than all of those previous checks put together. And here's the fundamental argument behind it. This isn't about printing new money to juice the economy. The entire premise is that this is your money to begin with, money you've overpaid in taxes, which was then, allegedly, wasted by the government. So the plan isn't a handout. It's about giving you back what was already yours. That, of course, leads to the big question. If we're talking about trillions of dollars, where on earth is all this wasted money supposed to come from? Well, the proposal points to a few specific places. The source material gives some pretty concrete examples. We're talking about things like Social Security payments that are still being sent out for people who have passed away, or money that was given to states and cities for projects but just sat there, never spent. And then there's alleged inefficiencies in the federal workforce, like having multiple people doing the exact same job, or government employees working a second job while on the clock. And this wouldn't just be a suggestion. According to the source, the plan involves a dedicated group called a Department of Government Efficiency, whose entire job would be to go through the books of every single agency and hunt down this alleged waste and fraud. So, let's say they find the money. How do you actually get it back into the pot? This is where a very specific and pretty powerful presidential tool comes into play. It's really the engine that would make this whole thing work, at least in theory. That tool is called impoundment, and what it means basically is that a president has the power to refuse to spend money that Congress has already approved. If those funds are considered unnecessary or just plain wasteful, the president can step in and say, nope, we're not spending that. This quote, cited in the source material from Donald Trump, really spells out the logic. It says, if Congress provided more funding than was needed, the president could refuse to waste the extra funds and instead return the money to the general treasury. It's all about clawing back that surplus. Okay, that's all the theory and the mechanics, but let's bring it back to what really matters. What would a plan like this actually mean for you, for your wallet, and for the economy as a whole? Well, the sources suggest that for millions of families, a refund of this size could be a total game changer. We're not just talking about a little extra cash. This is the kind of money that could go toward a down payment on a house or a new car. Or it could simply take the pressure off, paying off credit card bills, covering utilities, putting food on the table, or buying your kids new clothes without stress. But here's the catch. It's a really tricky move. On one hand, you could see a huge economic boost. I mean, millions of families suddenly having more money to spend could create what some call a booming economy. But on the other hand, there's a huge risk. Pumping that much cash into the system all at once could cause inflation to spike, which would make everything from gas to groceries more expensive. So, when you boil it all down, the plan is basically this. Step 1, find trillions of dollars in government waste. Step 2, use the power of impoundment to get that money back. And Step 3, send that money directly to the American people as a refund. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. Is this a brilliant way to give taxpayers their own money back and fire up the economy? Or is it a massive economic gamble that could backfire? That is the debate at the very heart of this proposal.